everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. I'm Stephen Cabral, board-certified naturopathic doctor. Excited to be here with you today to end the week right with our Friday review. We have so much to talk about of what's new, what's happening over this past week. Looking forward to sharing all of that with you for a couple minutes. Then we want to move on to our research for the week. This week, I've dedicated it to some new research studies on vitamin D and why I believe, and this is for the majority of the population, that you are not getting the vitamin D that you need and also that you think that you have, but you're actually short on it. So I want to go over that. And then 3 great books. So basically, what I want to do right now is just kind of meet people where they're at. Depending on what your level you're at, I've got 3 great books to share with you. And then our super nutrient of the week, that is one of those special herbal-based products that can help everything from blood sugar dysregulation, hypertension, or we'll call it high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart-based disease, aging issues, and Alzheimer's. So looking forward to sharing that with you today. So I always like to start the show with what's new, what's been happening over this past week. And really, I just want to say thank you, first of all. It really has been an amazing past 7 days, 8 days actually. We closed our grand opening celebration this past Wednesday. We just launched equilibriumnutrition.com. That is our new home for all things functional medicine. StephenCabral.com will turn into a website that essentially allows you a place to find the upcoming certification for health coaches this fall. It's going to allow you to find our functional medicine-based labs, and then, of course, our nutritional supplements at equilibriumnutrition.com. StephenCabral.com will also point towards our private practice, and then also our fitness studio, personal training studio in Boston as well. So that's going to be kind of the main hub, but equilibriumnutrition.com was the new website that we launched, and that was essentially just listen to all your feedback. And it took us a little while, like everything does, right? But we were able to make it very easily searchable. We were able to create subcategories, and we've just gotten amazing feedback. Now, I can tell you this, we have over 24 more improvements we want to make. Add-ons, everything from A to Z ailments, meaning that you'll be able to search high cholesterol and then what to do for it, high blood pressure and what to do for it. Again, we're not treating or diagnosing disease, but what we are doing is looking at the underlying root causes for these things and helping you to rebalance that with nutrition-based plans, nutritional supplements, lab testing, etc. Okay, so pretty amazing things, more to come. We're going to have how-to videos. You're going to be seeing me actually demonstrate a lot of the products that I use. You'll see me demonstrate how to use the lab kits. Really looking forward to that. The only thing that holds us back is time, just like everyone, right? It's just time. So as we grow our team, there'll be more time for me to do kind of more videos, more coaching, and absolutely looking forward to that. So that's that with that. One thing I want to bring to you, which was really disturbing to me, I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit here. We've been having some issues with our payment processors and people looking at CBD oil as one of those things that is kind of like this gray area in this, should we allow you to carry it, should you not? And it's kind of insane because, first of all, it's a plant. Second of all, there's no psychoactive properties whatsoever, meaning that it's not marijuana. There's no high. You don't get a high from CBD oil. What you get is the anti-anxiety, the anti-insomnia, the anti-seizure, meaning like there are literally videos online, and I'm not talking about 1 or 2, I'm talking about thousands of people showing that a child who's in seizures or a pet that's having seizures, they literally put CBD oil between the lip and the front gum. So basically pulling out the lip, putting the CBD oil there. And the seizures stop within 20 minutes. This is epileptic seizures. This is any different type of seizures. It's absolutely amazing. And that's why it's heartbreaking to me that there are people in politics who are looking to not allow you to be able to use CBD oil. It's completely insane to me. It really is. I was not a believer in the beginning because I was against using any type of marijuana in my practice, right? I just said, why do I have to go there? I don't need to do that. But then I was educated on CBD and how it's different about 2 years ago. I started using it for myself before I would ever recommend it to anyone else. And after 6 months, I was thoroughly convinced this is a plant-based medicine. This is plant medicine, meaning it comes literally from a plant. And all the research, over 1,000 clinical studies, 1,000 clinical studies, not from naturopaths. And because a lot of people are like, I don't really believe in that. Like, okay, well, there's nothing to believe in. It's science. But they're published on PubMed. And I pointed those out. I'll link them up today. I mean, literally, I've done 3 full podcasts on the benefits of CBD oil and how it can help to shrink cancerous tumors, how it can help with anxiety and insomnia and inflammation and migraines. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So I'm going to link that up today in the show notes, those podcasts. It's just, I have one big content page on CBD. But here's the thing. There's a senator, his name was Chuck Grassley, and I believe he was a Republican from Iowa. And again, I'm not for Republicans, I'm not for Democrats. I'm not into politics. I'm just not into the games of politics. I'm just not into it. I don't believe a lot of what people say, and I believe that there's a lot of private money that are controlling what all of the senators and Congress people and et cetera are told to believe. And so anyway, what this senator was trying to do, and again, I'm sure it's him and it's other people, I'm not coming down on him, but he is the one that tried to file it, is that they were looking to actually exclude or ban cannabinoids, extracts, and derivatives of hemp. Meaning like you would not be allowed to use CBD oil because they would classify it as a Schedule 1 substance. That means the same substance as heroin. They would classify literally an herb like CBD, which has no psychoactive component, it's not addictive, and you can't overdose. You literally cannot overdose on CBD oil. You could take 600 milligrams, which they show given to children in studies, and you would not overdose. But now they want to classify it as heroin or in the same substance, the same akin to heroin. To me, this is completely insane. Again, this is definitely politics at its worst. And I'm going to link up a page that's from hempsupporter.com, where if you want to be able to continue to use CBD oil or just your right to use nutritional supplements, I will link that up and you can put in your notes and basically write a message to the government saying that you cannot ban this, that this would be ridiculous and an abuse of power. So I'll put that in there. I just want you to know that when I say that CBD oil can be banned and may be banned in the future, it's a real thing. This is not me making it up. It may be banned and they maybe put it in the hands of pharmaceutical companies only, which is what we do not want since it's going to be extracts. It may not be full spectrum. You're going to have to go through health insurance. That is not what we want for our nutritional supplements. Trust me, we do not want a monopoly just for pharmaceutical agencies. So I'm going to put that in there. And at the same time, I will link up, obviously I'll link up all your information on CBD oil. And that's it. So again, when I say it's possible that CBD oil can be banned, it's a real thing and it's scary. And so again, use it wisely, get your information on it and get your voice heard. Okay, let's move on. Let's move off that kind of dismal topic to something else that we have great going on. And that is for at least, I would say we have a couple hundred bottles at least of our free new product called Balanced Zinc. This is one that I'm really excited to bring to you. I've been working on this formulation for a while. There's a lot of products out there with zinc in it. And the reason why I wanted to formulate my own is that I wanted to put in a little bit of copper. So a lot of people don't know this, but copper to zinc should be between a 9-to-1 to 15-to-1 ratio, meaning that zinc should be 9 or 15 times greater than the amount of copper you put in your body. We do a lot of research on this. We do a lot of hair tissue mineral analysis testing. That's the way to figure it out. You do a hair tissue mineral analysis and you can figure out your copper to zinc ratio. Well, what I was looking to do, because we use a lot of zinc in my practice, was to create a product that you could use for long-term use and inexpensive as well. Zinc should not be a super expensive product. Well, what I did was I created the proper ratio of zinc to copper. I'm not going to go a lot into this now, but I also added in the cofactors. So I said, okay, we're going to keep this for long-term use by putting a little bit of copper. Copper is used for cellular energy. It's used for your thyroid. It's used for your metabolism. It's used for mitochondria. Really important, but a very small mineral. Like it's a micro mineral, we'll call it. And then I added in vitamin B6 and vitamin C to help with the absorption and utilization of zinc, and also, obviously, as you're taking it with meals, carbohydrates. So pretty important. And then you'll see a little bit of leucine as other ingredients. People always ask, wait, why is that there? And that actually helps tremendously with the absorption as well, even though it's in a very small amount, that amino acid. So I'm not going to talk a lot about that today. I'm excited about it. You'll hear more about it at the end of the show. I'll do an outro of how you can get your free bottle, literally free bottles we are giving away. A lot of times people ask me, why do I do that? Well, first of all, I like to bring awareness to really good quality nutritional supplements and a lot of time what people may be lacking. So when I give away bottles of vitamin D, I believe they're lacking in it. You'll see in the research. When I give away bottles of zinc, it's because I do thousands, like literally thousands of hair tissue mineral analysis tests. I look at blood work. I look at alkaline phosphatase. People below a 60 on alkaline phosphatase typically need more zinc. What I try to do is say, hey, can I make a product that isn't very expensive and that I can also try to give away for free, at least for a limited time, to raise awareness about this product, like I just did hopefully with CBD oil and how there are pharmaceutical companies and the government trying to ban it. So that's what it's about. Check out the outro if you want a free bottle of my brand new Balanced Zinc. I literally use it every day. I think it's an amazing product. I simply take it with dinner each night. Okay, next up this is a fun one as well. I'll be doing my own Dr. Cabral detox the week before the 4th of July. For all of you listening in the United States, a lot of people celebrate the 4th of July. It's a fun time of the year. It's a time to basically celebrate. Yes, it is Independence Day. A lot of people just use it as a time to get away, the official start to summer, enjoy hopefully some great beach weather as well. And what I like to do is I like to do a detox before the first official week of summer. We'll call that 4th of July week. So my Dr. Ball detox will be 7 days long, and I'll be starting it on Monday, June 25th. If you want to join me, I'll be posting inside of CabralSupportGroup.com. That's a free Facebook page. CabralSupportGroup.com just forwards over there. You are welcome to join. All positive people who want to support others and ask a few questions are welcome to join. If you'd like to join me, you can purchase, obviously, a Dr. Cabral detox, or if you already have one, because a lot of people kind of have an extra one on hand because they might have bought in bulk to save. I would love to have you join me and post along with me. That is on June 25th. I'll be starting. You can do it anytime you want. A lot of people do it the week after the 4th of July to kind of clean out their body after 4th of July week. But I will be starting June 25th. So I'm excited about that. And I know that if you order today, you'll be able to get yours in time to start on June 25th. So looking forward to that. Excited. I haven't done mine since the early spring, late winter. And so this will be my next seasonal 7-day detox. All right. I'll link up to that in the show notes. All the show notes today will be at StephenCabral.com/861 is today, I believe. StephenCabral.com/861. All right. We're going to go over right now a little bit of research on vitamin D, a couple quick recommendations on books, and then get to our super nutrient of the week. So I was reading over some of Thorne Research's, some of their kind of highlights from what they've been looking at study-wise, and I try to keep up with everything. And whatever catches my eye, whatever I believe I could share with you, that would be great benefit. I try to do that. So talked about vitamin D a lot in the past. Why? It's because that it's really linked with not just a couple hundred, but I would say over 500 different imbalances in the body. It's used from everything from metabolism to cholesterol to blood sugar to weight loss. So when you understand that vitamin D, it says vitamin, but it actually acts a lot like a hormone in the body. And it's also fat soluble. It's a very interesting vitamin in and of itself. And then it also needs all the other cofactors, which is why you really should take vitamin D with a daily activated multivitamin or something like that, our daily nutritional support shake. And the reason I say that is that your vitamin D will be better uptaken. I don't think that that's a word, but we'll use it today anyway, by your vitamin K, by your calcium, by your magnesium. So really important, but again, you don't have to go out and use all those specific different vitamins. You can simply get it in your daily support shake or your daily activated multi. Either one is totally fine. And then you're going to want a little bit higher of a dose of vitamin D. How high? Well, the best thing you can do is lab test. Honestly, that's the only way you're ever going to really figure it out. I recommend lab testing for yourself and for your children twice a year. I recommend an at-home finger stick because kids don't like to obviously have their blood taken, but you can just do a finger poke. Super easy to do. It's very inexpensive. I'm going to link up that lab test there, especially for what it does, right? It's your overall health and metabolism. So I'll link that up today at 861. That'll be the show notes. And how I test my vitamin D is July and January. Every single year, I test my blood work. I try to do that. I actually try to do it twice a year, every July and every January. So I just stay ahead of things. I'm looking at preventative medicine, right? I always want to look at all my blood work. The individual vitamin D test is simple to do. Again, that's right at home. So what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for a level between 50 and 70. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see, it's a huge range. Usually it's between 30 and 100 on a lab test. Functional medicine will look at more of like 30 to 80, but really what we're looking at is 50 to 70, 50 to 80 maximum. And the reason I say during the summer and then the middle of winter, the dead of winter in January, is that's because you always want to maintain, no matter what season it is, between 50 and 70. All right, let's get into a little bit of research, some new research. Low vitamin D levels during pregnancy can contribute to childhood obesity. Amazing, right? So the mother's vitamin D can actually be linked to obesity in their children as they're going through childhood, and it can lead to a lower metabolic rate. Really important to look at that, especially it can lead to higher levels of adipose tissue, which is the amount of fat cells essentially in the child. Another one, infants born to vitamin D deficient mothers might be at risk for neonatal brain injury. So again, we're looking at before the child even comes into this world, how much vitamin D they're getting from their mother. Really important in terms of development and then ongoing as well. The last one is this. Studies show vitamin D supplementation improves markers of inflammation and androgen levels in PCOS. So a lot of women right now dealing with estrogen dominance, dealing with PCOS-based symptoms, blood sugar dysregularity, higher levels of testosterone, maybe weight gain, inflammation. When we're looking at the higher CRP and all of these higher androgens, what we're finding is that those who supplemented with 4,000 IUs of vitamin D daily for 12 weeks saw huge improvements, just, enormous improvements. So pretty impressive. Again, one more reason to be taking vitamin D. How much do you need? Well, most adults need, and children, about 35 IUs, international units per pound of body weight. What is that? Well, we make it easy. For most people, it's just 2 drops of our liquid vitamin D. Again, the bottle of vitamin D we have is inexpensive. It lasts you over a year. Like, it's insane. Because the truth is that you should just be taking it. During the summertime, if you maintain a tan in, let's say, July and August, June, July, and August, maybe for other parts of the world, or if you live below Atlanta, Georgia, that line in the United States, if you're maintaining a great tan, then you're maintaining a great tan, but you need to actually check those levels out as well, because a lot of people, they believe that the tan or getting out in the sun includes just wearing a short sleeve shirt and shorts, and that's not enough skin exposure, remember. So it's like 3 or 4 days a week of getting full body sun exposure, of course, making sure not to burn. But again, if you're always wearing sunscreen, I talked about this before, you're not getting your vitamin D. So check that out. For children, most children we're looking at, again, 35 IUs per pound of body weight for most people. Do that for about 6 weeks to 8 weeks and then see what your blood levels are. You'll be able to see if that's the right dosage for you. I'm going to keep it at that, okay? For adults, we typically just do 2 drops a day. And then for children, we'll do the kids' vitamin D. I'll link up the separate kids' vitamin D. And just like, for example, my daughters, they get about 800 IUs. And then during the summer, they don't get any because they're in the sun all the time, like literally all the time in bathing suits. Okay, next up we have, I told you I was going to give you 3 books depending on the level or where you're at right now. So a lot of people ask me, you're reading many, many books per week, multiple books per week. You obviously enjoy reading. What is kind of a catalyst for that? What got you started? Well, so a lot of things I began reading because I had nowhere to go, meaning there was no internet back when I got sick, and that was in 96, right? 1996. So that was quite some time ago, 96, 97. And we didn't even have internet. Like my family didn't, we just didn't have internet until well after 2000, okay? So, and that would be dial-up. So what I'm, really getting back to is that I read a lot of books, and that was out of necessity. And I was a very slow reader, and again, if you want to figure out how I taught myself to essentially what's called photo reading or speed reading, you can just type in speed reading at StephenCabral.com/podcast, and you'll see how I taught myself to read quickly. Because I used to take 3 minutes to 5 minutes per page, and it would take me forever to read a book. And now, of course, I can read a book in basically 90 minutes. And for me, these are all learned skills. You really can do it. And so what got me started, though, is just, first of all, believing that I could actually make a change. So a lot of people ask me, okay, like, what are some of those first books about believing you could actually get better or believing that you could change anything in your life, whether it's relationships, career, spirituality, finances, et cetera, right? So I've given one of the recommendations before, and it's this tiny little book, like it could fit in your pocket, and it's called The Magic of Believing. So it's a fun little book, it's tiny, and that's a great book to start out. That would be more of what we'll call a kind of like a new age-based book, even though it was written decades ago. That's a fun one to get started. A lot of people who are more religious, okay, we'll say more from the religious background. Essentially, growing up, I was brought up in a very religious household, and now I consider myself more spiritual than anything else. Just, obviously trying to be a good person, all of those things. But if you are, let's just say from a Christianity-based background, Catholicism or Judaism, there's a book by Emmett Fox called The Sermon on the Mount. And it's sold more than 2 or 3 million copies. It's a small book as well, just about 150 pages. It's an excellent book. It got me to understand a lot of what's written in the Bible and how it can be looked at and interpreted in multiple different ways. And this didn't disrespect any of what was written in the Bible. It actually brought it some clearer meaning to me. And I read this about a decade ago when I was on some of my internships, maybe not that long ago, because I wasn't on my internships then. But I read this actually when I can remember it right now, as I was in Sri Lanka. And I read this book, and it brought a lot full circle. It helped me to understand that nothing has to be good or bad, and there are different interpretations. So I really enjoyed that book for everyone. It's called by Emmett Fox, The Sermon on the Mount. And then for people who are more science-based, I read this book. Now, this book goes back a decade or so, probably even a little bit more, when I met my mentor, and she recommended I read The Heart Math Solution. This is more of a science-based take on how there are actually different energy systems within the body, and that your heart is actually a second brain. And we could even call it maybe like a third brain now, because we know we have the gut-based brain, we've got the brain inside of our head, and then we also have this heart-based brain. And when we look at it, we can actually study it from almost we'll call it what it is, a radiation-based standpoint, where your heart electricity can actually be tracked and measured 6 feet around your entire body, like a 6-foot radius. Pretty impressive. It shows you that we are really electric and energy-based dynamic beings. And it was a great book that brought that to my attention, and understanding that there's more to the cold science that we're led to believe, that we're basically just these chemical compositions and that genetics determines our future and all of those things. The Heart Math Solution is a great way to start to reset your thinking. So I hope you enjoyed those 3 books. I've enjoyed reading them all. I read a lot of books on psychology. I read a lot of books on belief. I read a lot of books on envisioning your ideal life. And I'll tell you why. Because the only people I've told you before, the only people I have not seen succeed in my practice are those people who believe that they are destined to be sick for the rest of their life. That's the truth. And I mean no harm by that. And those are the people that I want to help the most. So what I do is I study deep into psychology. I study cognitive behavioral therapy. I study neurolinguistic programming. I study all of these things to help to get them to first believe in themselves. I need them to believe in me, yes, but I hopefully am able to prove that through research and through science and through lab testing. I can show them exactly what they have. But then I need them to get them to believe in them, right? That's what I need to do. And the reason I say that is because if I give them the lab results that show exactly what they have, and then I give them the perfect plan that's backed up by science to help with all of those specific measures from both an Eastern and Western-based philosophy, using the best of everything, but they can't implement it, if they can't do that, then they stand no chance of getting well. So I understand this as well because I was there. Really, I was brought in front of a lot of great doctors that had a lot of would have helped me to get well, but I was unwilling to necessarily listen to them. And I want to talk about that on this coming Motivation and Mindset Monday, is that you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you'll get well. You have to believe that you are not so unique that no one in your position has never gotten well, because believe me, there are hundreds, thousands, if not millions of people in your same exact position. You just don't know them, right? But those people have managed to get well, and so can you. All right. Next up is our super nutrient of the week, and it is berberine. Berberine is, I hope I've never talked about this before. I know we're only about 6 months into the year, but I'm having trouble remembering all of our super nutrients of the week. I did look back, and we have not covered this specifically, but why talk about berberine? You know, I get to only talk about one super nutrient of the week. It has to be special, right? It has to be something that I'm a big believer in. Well, last week we went through, of course, our methylcobalamin, or the specific type of B12 that you should be using. Well, why use berberine? Berberine is a plant-based alkaloid. And what does that even mean? Well, an alkaloid is essentially a natural plant-based compound. Again, I made fun of this, I believe it was on Tuesday. I make fun of, how in medicine we have to have all these special terms. Well, essentially an alkaloid is a plant-based compound, and it just consists of mainly nitrogen-based atoms. So what this means is that it's the way that it interacts in your body, and it's very specific to certain plant compounds. And that's why we look at this, because these types of compounds can be great for very specific things in the body. And I want to talk about that right now. So a lot of the reasons that I would use berberine in my practice, and one of the reasons why it's been used in traditional Chinese medicine for thousands of years and Ayurvedic medicine for the same, is that it's been proven to help specifically with blood sugar dysregulation, gut-based issues, heart disease, any type of heart disease, but especially high cholesterol, high blood pressure, joint-based issues, that includes osteoporosis, and again, we'll get into these, weight-based issues and metabolism, and I'm about to explain, because this is cutting edge, is histamine-related issues, and I hope that you tuned in to yesterday's podcast. So if you go to stephencabral.com/860, you'll see that yesterday I talked about one of the hidden causes behind chronic inflammation. This is extremely important. And I talked about berberine is just one of those substances that we're using in my practice and seeing great results with. Okay, so let's get into it, because a lot of people don't want to take Ayurvedic medicine at face value and say, okay, they've been using it for thousands of years, I'll just use it too. They want to see some science behind it. So what I want to do is I actually want to bring you a lot of that science right now. But before I do that, I want to give you an overview of a lot of the symptoms that I just named. Again, I call diseases symptoms because they're a collection of symptoms. People gave them a name. We're going to call them symptoms. But today we're going to just describe the main symptoms. When we say diabetes, we're going to say, okay, it's some type of blood sugar dysregulation. Well, I'm going to get into specific blood sugar-based research in just a moment. But berberine has been clinically proven to help lower blood glucose. That means lower blood sugar levels. It helps to control blood sugar in general, and it helps with lipid metabolism actually in the liver itself. So it's impressive. It does a lot of work on the liver with detoxification, and it's one of the reasons why we can help to control high cholesterol levels. I'll be talking about that specifically as well. It decreases the abnormal fats in the bloodstream. With obesity, it's able to lower a lot of the compounds that keep people adding weight or unable to metabolize body fat. In Alzheimer's disease, it helps protect the synapses in the nervous system itself as well. In heart disease, so besides high cholesterol, it stimulates the release of nitric oxide, which also helps with blood pressure, so that's extremely important. And at the same time with atherosclerosis, which helps to expand, dilate, and relax the arteries. With inflammation of the lungs, so a lot of people with acute lung-based issues from smoking, it's been shown to help with that. Right now, it appears, everything with cancer, right, as it appears, because we need a lot more research, to inhibit and stop the proliferation of cancerous cells and tumors. Pretty amazing. We use it a lot in our Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. You'll see that it's in multiple of our supplements, and that's because it works, and it's been shown to work, as well as antibiotics for getting rid of bacteria, gets rid of protozoa, basically gut bugs that shouldn't be there, some of those being parasites or bacterial overgrowth, and then yeast and fungi. So really, really potent nutritional supplement. One of the specific studies that I wanted to bring you, because I just think this is so important. Okay, we use a lot in high cholesterol, so I do want to say that. We use a lot in high cholesterol, but one thing I want to name specifically is this, because this is so important. A lot of people believe that you have to always be using pharmaceutical drugs. Well, here's a great, great study. Okay, with people taking 500 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day of berberine, I'm going to tell you the specific kind at the end, we're able to control blood sugar and lipid metabolism as effectively as metformin. Okay, that's one of the main insulin-based drugs for type 1 diabetes, and sometimes it's used for type 2. So that was specifically, let me get you the study itself. That was in the study of efficacy of berberine in patients with type 2 diabetes mellitus, and that was, let me see if I can just link this up. I'll link this up in the show notes today on that study so that you can see how it was as effective as the drug metformin. Pretty impressive. And again, that was used for type 2 diabetes, although in type 1 diabetes, they're using metformin as well. Another study, this was in the evidence-based complementary and alternative medicine journal, and it was found that berberine can improve insulin sensitivity by adjusting adipokine secretion. Okay, so one of the big things is to understand about berberine is this, and I'll make my recommendations because, again, I want to be respectful of your time, especially on a Friday review, is that we can use it as part of our Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol at about 300 to 500 milligrams per day. That seems to be enough for the gut, along with synergistic factors such as oregano oil, et cetera, et cetera. You'll see that in those products. I can always link that up in today's show notes at stephencabral.com/861. But I also want to link up a product that contains 400 to 500 milligrams per dosage. And that's because when you are looking to use it at we'll call it a pharmaceutical replacement level, and again, I can't make any diagnosis or treatment-based recommendations. This is for your education. But typically, it's between 900 and 1,500 milligrams per day. Okay? So you would use essentially 2 to 3 servings of 400 to 500 milligrams. And it's the form that you want to look for is berberine hydrochloride, or berberine HCl. And that is what's used in clinical studies. And you want to use it actually split throughout the day. This is very important. A lot of supplements like those zinc I talked about in the beginning of the show, they can just be used once a day at night. Okay? Great time to take it at night. You can take it any time of the day, but it's an anabolic mineral, so you take it at night. Okay. Big thing here as well. You take it throughout the day because berberine has a very short half-life, which is why it's great to take it at all 3 meals, or even if you want before the meal. So I keep things simple. I always just take all supplements mid-meal, except with the Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol, which you take upon waking and before bed. And the reason we're doing that is we're taking it away from food because we're using biofilm disruptors and a lot of other things that we want to get right in there and not have it be disturbed by food. Okay, so really simple. You would take, if you want an effective dosage for cholesterol and for hypertension and for blood sugar issues and for all the other things that I mentioned, you'll take about 2 to 3 servings a day of 400 to 500 milligrams. I will link that up today. We have a lot of great brands besides Equilibrium Nutrition that we like to show a little love to, and we're going to do that today. That is it for today. I know it was a long show. I wanted to bring you a lot of information. I hope it was helpful, but I'm always open to your feedback. How can I make the show better? If it already is great, I love to hear that as well, and I really do appreciate you. I appreciate all of your listens. I appreciate your reviews on iTunes. I read every single one. Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend, and we'll be back tomorrow with our first house call of the weekend. Take care, everyone. Thank you for just tuning into the Cabral Concepts. I have a very special announcement this month, and I honestly didn't know if it was ever going to happen. I've been working on a brand new product to the Equilibrium Nutrition line that can be used for extended use to improve immunity, fight viruses, repair gut health, rebuild muscle, skin, hair, nails, and tissue, boost energy, improve hormones, libido, strength, stamina, and increase overall vitality. You've probably heard me talk about this super nutrient before that helps with all of those health benefits, and it's called zinc. But I didn't want to make this any ordinary zinc product. I wanted to add the cofactors into this functional medicine combination product so that it would be a better absorbed and balanced for long-term use. I was able to do that by adding a small dosage of the mineral copper, which is used for cellular energy metabolism, thyroid, as well as the healing powers of vitamin B6 and vitamin C for enhanced zinc utilization by the body. I'm so happy to now be able to offer this product in my private and online practice that I wanted everyone to be able to take advantage of this one-time offer and enjoy the tremendous rejuvenating benefits of zinc. So this month, while supplies last, I'll be giving away free bottles of this brand new balanced zinc formula on all orders at equilibriumnutrition.com. That means literally with any order you place, big or small, I will add a complimentary bottle of my balanced zinc automatically to your shopping cart free of charge. This is a first come, first serve limited supply offer, so I hope you enjoy this special giveaway and get your free bottle of my long anticipated balanced zinc while supplies last. Simply go to equilibriumnutrition.com to get yours.